Okay, I'm gonna repeatedly try logging into Steam. And succeed first try. I lied. It was not repeated. And so I can just do it from the options of go to like what?
I think it should be settings or something like that.
Settings, application preferences.
That, or you may have to log onto your actual Steam account. I forget.
I got a new notification.
That, or you may have to log.
It is a Warframe booster pack that I'm about to sell. It's like about PUBG. It is a Warframe booster pack that I'm about to sell. Sure, whatever. 20 cents it is. I'm never going to use it, whatever. A lot of people playing Killing Floor and Killing Floor. I'm surprised. Oh, here, there's a Steam Guard button.
Yeah.
Authenticate Steam Guard settings. Oh, here, there's a Steam Guard button.
Yeah.
So Steam goes to settings. I ate fish.
How'd you know? That was random.
Alright, man, you've been...
Wow, that's a shame.
It is.
You should eat fish.
You have been tagged, so feel free to share that out to the universe and everyone under the sun. You have been tagged, so feel free to share that.
Steam guarded real quick.
Yeah. But yeah, pretty much that's the big reason why Valve is asking everyone to enable Steam Guard, because there's just been a rash of thefts of people with either humongous libraries that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, or people who have really valuable items like some tournament players that have Counter-Strike guns that are like $1,000 or $2,000 a piece.
People from the Dota Internationals. Yeah.
Them too.
I know about that. Like, you just accidentally win shit there.
Yep.
It's like negative value and stuff.
Them too.
I know about that. Like, you just accidentally win shit there.
Yep.
Like negative value and stuff.
Alright.
I'm sorry, I haven't sent it out yet.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I was gonna say, Kelsey was about to, or rather, Chef was about to say something.
Yeah, I haven't sent it out yet.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I was gonna say, Kelsey was about to, or rather, Chef was about to say something.
Did you click live, or are you watching an old video?
Oh wow, my XSplit stuff froze. Oh wow, my XSplit stuff froze. WTF XSplit, you weird thing. WTF XSplit, you and WTF Destiny. How dare you not let me log in?
Great.
WTF Destiny. Okay, so while I try to log into Destiny, if I can, if not, I'm just gonna go to Borderlands 2.
Also, Chef, I sent Kay a Facebook message about the wedding. You should hear that. The trouble about being a grown-up, you want to go to a friend's wedding, you can't just do it. You have to know the day ahead of time.
Yeah, you can't car crash and go, hello, I'm at the party! Oh.
Yeah.
You
Well,
didn't account for me? Whoops!
not just that, but I only get 5 days a year off, which is lame,
Yeah.
but I'm going to use one of those to go.
Okay, cool. So,
Did they add any new planets?
I Jupiter's, or on the Saturn's ring has a giant Hive 2 ship that's literally floating in the rings.
It's gross and awesome.
Yeah, so, alright.
It's not limping?
No, it's the usual sleepy leg thing.
Oh man, needles in the legs.
Yep. Because she'll run like a friggin' beast when she warms up and everything.
What class are you again?
Hunter. So, for everyone who's joining us again, this is Zero's Lab. I am ZeroXR, and long overdue, since September, Only Aki is joining me once again.
Hey guys, I'm back. I'm not staying up all night for work anymore, so I can actually do this again.
Yeah, holy hell, man. I can't believe it's been since September since you joined up with us.
It was before my birthday, right? Even?
Yeah. And on a super spooky tangent, Chef Tonberry's on the side there. Super spooky.
Yeah, she's making a face you guys can't see. It's okay. It's alright. Some things are not meant to be seen.
Yeah, so, anyhow, there's just been a lot of gaming stuff going on in the last couple weeks. We had the Game Awards that happened. PlayStation Experience just happened as well.
Capcom Cup.
Capcom Cup at PlayStation Experience happened as well. Just lots and lots of great video game events going on and everything. And just to be honest, it's been a great year for video games, in my opinion.
There have been a lot of blockbusters and a lot of small releases too.
Yeah.
Even arcadey stuff like Nuclear Throne actually got an official release.
Yeah, and I think it's actually promoted on the PlayStation Store for like $12.
Solid game. It's really cool if you're into procedurally generated stuff in general, really.
Yeah.
And, if you follow, you know that already. There's a lot. Anybody out there watching who follows Rami Ishmael from Plan B around Twitter, then you probably know that. He's kind of a prolific indie game celebrity right now.
Oh, cool. And we have somebody who joined the channel.
Yeah.
Cyanide1985.
Welcome
to the channel. Glad you're with us. So, Anaki, I was telling you about the swords. This is my sword in Destiny right here.
Oh yeah, arc sword, so it does arc damage.
Yeah, so that's the purified soul crystal, which is full of arc energy.
That's pretty cool. Can I see it, or you can't wield weapons out in the tower, can you?
No, but I can wield it out in the overworld. It's no big deal.
That's fine. I'll see it then.
But yeah, that's what it looks like on
Look at you! You look like a World of Warcraft character. You look like a rogue.
Yeah. So, oh, cool. And it looks like Chef Tonberry's helping us out in the channel.
Oh yeah? Thank you.
So let's briefly go over the Game Awards stuff real quick here.
Yeah, let me pull up my notes real quick.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Interesting nominations this year. Some I agree with, some I don't quite agree with personally. I briefly went over them last week, but I really didn't have anyone to bounce ideas off of.
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Here we go. I got the document up, so.
Okay. Let me know which one you want to start off with, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Yeah, because I can't remember off the top of my head who
Oh,
all
yeah,
was nominated.
yeah.
So let's just start. Let's top down. Let's start with the jury nominated things. So I guess just for anybody who wants to keep up with social things, I know there was a bit of a controversy that there was only one woman on the jury. I don't know if that affected the vote or not. I'm not a politician or a statistician or whatever, but hopefully maybe that's better at the next Game Awards. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
So that's worth noting. Looks like there was a family game category, and I thought that would probably go to Splatoon, but maybe they didn't want to over-nominate. We'll get to that later. But Splatoon did not win Family Game of Best Family Game of the Year. That went to Super Mario Maker.
Yeah.
Which, it's fair.
Yeah. I
Pretty
mean,
good game.
I agree with it. It's a great nomination, mostly because of the fact that I could definitely see it being a family game of, just a family who's grown up with Super Mario, maybe some of the adults who grew up with the first Super Mario, their kids, or maybe family who might be younger than them may have grown up on Super Mario World, and then the younger kids growing up on New Super Mario and things like that, and being fun for the whole family.
Well, also hear me out. Okay, so Splatoon is family appropriate, but it is kind of hard to play as a family.
Yeah.
Mario Maker, on the other hand, the whole family, you can just make levels for each other and have each other playing each other's stages and helping each other design stages. I feel like it is a more family-friendly experience. Splatoon is really tough to play with more than just one person at a time, unless you're playing with random people.
Oh, I'd definitely be inclined to agree on that for sure. So.
While I do dig Splatoon, I kind of agree with that nomination. Fighting game, honestly, Mortal Kombat X did it's not that it didn't deserve it, it's a great game. But it also kind of just ran away with the category because there wasn't really a lot of competition this year. Most of the games that came out this year were not new, fighting game-wise. I mean, I think, can you really count Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax? Because that wasn't new in Japan.
Well, that's really definitely a hard one.
Rising Thunder, kind of?
And Cyanide said, "Hey, I hear a siren in the background. Are you guys as in a war?" No, it's probably my vacuum cooling fan is
You
what it
turned it
was.
off if you
I
want.
turned it off because I'm not doing anything too graphic card intensive. So,
Thanks for letting us know.
but as far as the fighting game nomination,
Didn't have a lot of competition this year.
no, I mean I get it. Mortal Kombat X is new and fresh. Street Fighter 4's been kind of an old pony that's been out there for a while, and the Ultra 4 release for PS4 really didn't count as a new release.
Yeah, it was a report at best, but I will say, and it's not going to get mentioned in these nominations, fighting games have made huge strides on the PC front. There are so many more fighting games this year, exponentially, than there were last year.
Yeah.
Even Guilty Gear XR is available on Steam now.
Yeah, and to your point about Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax, the US got the older port, not the new Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax Ignition version, which is coming out in a week in Japan, and that includes new characters, new balancing, a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a shame because a lot of people said that just the new one fixes just so much more stuff. So.
I don't know.
Are you guys Mega Man fans?
Heck yeah.
I'm very hyped about Mighty Number 9.
I'm pretty excited. I mean, having been one of the original backers, I've been waiting, I assume, just as long as you probably have, and, hype grows over time.
Oh, yeah.
I was really happy to see that they added dashing, because most of my formative years were in the 90s. I'm real big on Mega Man X, let me tell you what. So Mega Man X and Zero are my jam. I'm pretty happy to see that they've kept up that fast pace.
Yeah. Ooh, as far as the fighting game nomination, and Mortal Kombat X, I get it. It's the new hotness, so pretty natural that it got the nomination.
Sure. And I mean, I know you didn't like Dial-A-Combo, but you have to admit, based on Mortal Kombat Complete, Mortal Kombat X is probably the biggest improvement the series has ever undergone.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of the last game to this game in quality.
Yeah, it's a handed improvement.
Yeah. The next one we have multiplayer, which just goes right away to Splatoon, which I know some people will disagree because it's a little behind on things like lobby forming and whatnot, but frankly, creation of lobbies and whatnot in multiplayer games has really been ass backwards and not really moving forward for honestly, I haven't seen much improvement in it outside of fighting games since Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
In 07 or whatever. So I feel like that's fair. I really like Splatoon, and it super brought a lot of new things to the genre. It was definitely a Nintendo brand. It had that feel to it. It was, I don't know, it's competitive. There's a lot of salt in Splatoon, don't get me wrong, but it felt like there's just overall a lot less pressure to perform than in some of the more competitive shooters.
Cyanide says Splatoon is my favorite game of the year.
Heck yeah, man or gal. I really like Splatoon. It's keeping it fresh.
Yeah, Splatoon was just really fun, and it also took Best Shooter of the Year, too, beating out games like Call of Duty and Destiny and Taken King.
And frankly, even among games with a lot of varied game modes, there really isn't anything like Splatoon out there. You can't go, oh, Splatoon, that's kind of like X game mode in Quake or something, because it isn't. It's like Splatoon.
And Cyanide says, I play regularly, and I am a man.
Fair enough. I really liked. I personally I liked the ranked game modes more, because at least I haven't played it a bit. But when I was playing when they introduced ranked, the area there was a specific area you were supposed to cover in paint instead of the whole stage.
Yeah.
And so it kind of upped the pace of the game because everyone is there in that area competing bitterly for the turf, and I really enjoyed that. It was fun.
Yeah, and it was funny because I was reading Reddit's R Games discussion about Splatoon being Game of the Year,
Mm-hmm.
and one person actually brought up a really good point. I actually thought it made sense. They had said that Splatoon brings a little bit of everything on the table for gamers of all experiences.
Yeah.
For the Counter-Strike super quick shot person, they can play with a sniper rifle, pick off dudes, and still paint the fields. People who aren't that good at shooting games can just take the paint guns and start painting turf and just not care about.
They can
the
still
kills.
contribute to the team.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought it was a wonderful.
It's pretty
wonderful
tactical,
idea.
even if you're not good at shooting and you're not dumb or anything. You're just not good at clicking on heads, and that's okay. You look at the map, see, hey, this is really pink, and I need it to be green. I'm going over there.
Yeah,
It's great. I really like Splatoon. Splatoon is a testament to the fact that accessible does not have to mean babyfied.
Yeah, and it was funny because I still remember when Splatoon was announced, everyone's like, "Oh God, a shooter for babies!" Oh,
I know, and a
Jesus.
lot of people were super cynical online. I remember a lot of people were rooting for it to fail, but obviously a lot more were rooting for it to succeed because it's been a handed success. And I don't, unless it's just technically impossible, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a new 3DS version of Splatoon coming soon. Just given how prolific the new 3DS is in Japan.
Cyanide also says, I think Splatfest really needs some variety, though. Other than
That's fair.
Other than turf war.
Kind of, I could feel that, yeah.
And Chef also commented, the paint roller is perfect for non-shooters. I can definitely see that personally.
Yeah, I tend to use the paint can. I don't know what it's called. I think it's the Aerospray. Like I said, it's been a while. I'm not a hardcore Splatoon player. I played it really hard for the first couple weeks it was out, but then after that I haven't really been back around to it. But I really enjoy that game. So we next up have something I really, really am not qualified to talk about a ton. My best mobile game went to Lara Croft Go. I have seen screenshots, and that is as far as my experience with Lara Croft Go.
Yeah, supposedly it was just a well-crafted mobile game.
That's the puzzle platformer that's tile-based or whatever, though, right? Am I thinking of the right
believe
thing?
so. And I think the purchase price was a couple bucks.
Sure.
So rather reasonable price. So I can jive with that because I agree that mobile games have been getting a little microtransaction heavy, and
Kind of nice to see
the
a complete package.
Yeah, the hidden cost isn't all there with some of these microtransaction heavy games, and you end up going, okay, well, how much of this game is free?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm not going to talk smack or praise for it because I really can't. But it is the winner of its nomination according to the jury of the Game Awards. So, do you have anything else to add to that?
Not really, because I'm not much of a mobile gamer. If I'm gonna play something portably, it's gonna be on my 3DS and Vita. So.
Well, the next one took 3 categories, more or less, and so this is going to be a meaty topic. So we'll just bring up all 3 categories at once, and I think I know you know where I'm going here. Is we've got Best RPG and Best Game of the Year goes to The Witcher 3, and Best Developer of the Year goes to CD Projekt Red of Poland.
Yes.
I mean, that's hard to argue. Really, it's a really great game. What little was wrong with The Witcher 3 mechanically was sorted out in the first few months. They've supported it amazingly.
Yeah, and it was funny, when they were nominated for Developer of the Year, they kind of made the unicorn sex joke as well when they were walking up on the stage, which I thought was kind of big of them. They were just like, yeah, Poland, the land where unicorn sex exists. I was like, oh my god. Whoa, holy crap, a Sublime Engram, holy crap!
Just got a perp. But yeah, no, I mean, let's go over it. I mean, you can't deny the game's significant to the industry, and here's why. Fallout 3 comes out, universal praise. Fallout 4 comes out, lot of praise, kind of panned for its poor mechanics and bugginess. It's really not that much more. It's not really that mechanically different from Fallout 3 in terms of physics and whatnot, and the bugs are there. It's just that the bar is that much higher now from The Witcher 3.
Yeah,
People expect
Cyanide
more.
says, shooter for babies regarding Splatoon. I'm 30 and I've been been an avid gamer since 1990 and I love Splatoon.
Heck yeah. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I won't go back on it too much. Splatoon, it's really definitely encompasses that whole all ages term. Because a lot of people use it to mean game for kids. Splatoon really is for all ages. Anybody can play it and enjoy it. It's a great game.
Yeah. But back on this on The Witcher 3.
Yeah, I don't know how to curtail this, because if we talk about the game mechanics, we could go on for hours, and I also don't want to spoil the story, but, I mean, the performances are phenomenal.
Yeah, and good on CD Projekt Red for delaying it, because I know it was originally supposed to come out last year, and then CD Projekt Red, after the whole Assassin's Creed Unity fiasco, they said, you know, upon re-examination and on better judgment, we are going to delay this game into the next year. And I still remember people getting upset about it, like, oh my god, I can't believe it. The Witcher is being delayed. I want to play this now. It's probably good. It's CD Projekt Red. How bad can it really be?
It could have been pretty buggy, because there were some bugs at the beginning. I will say, one of the things I think is big of them is a lot of developers are not willing to do this, but they changed how the game works to improve the experience. You can't... It used to be you couldn't really carry more than you needed. You couldn't carry more than one suit of armor or a couple sets of swords.
Oh, yeah,
And they totally changed it. They introduced carrying bags and places that you can... not carrying bags up your maximum weight. That was always there. But, like, you can now go to places and pick items up out of storage like in The Witcher 2. And that wasn't originally in The Witcher 3. They changed that. You are now able to hoard items, and that was not part of the game before. They completely changed the balance of the game just to make it more fun. And I absolutely am down for that.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. You told me about how they added the mounted horse to have saddlebags.
They did.
That it made the horse kind of a mobile safe of
Well,
sorts.
There's they've also added a lot of creature features in terms of lowering the carrying weight of alchemy items, so you no longer have to choose, like, will I need this later for something there's only a few of in the game. They added a new game plus, so people wouldn't have to re-level from scratch every time they play. They've added on PC, Geralt's movement was really awkward because it was designed for an analog stick in some cases, it felt like, but on keyboard it was kind of janky, and they changed it to be really smooth on keyboard.
Yeah.
And it's just... There's just a certain satisfaction to researching your target and finding out, like, griffins don't like this, they nest this way, they migrate this way, and using that against a monster to hunt it down. It's just a tremendous game, and I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, and I mean it's definitely well deserved, and it definitely earned its stripes.
What do we got?
Hey guys, I'm a streamer who just started. I like the channel, and I support the underdogs. Keep up the good work. Yeah. We started back in July, so I mean we're still
Sure.
kind of a small crew and everything, and we're all working professionals as well too. So we totally get it. Took us a lot to get to where we are, but you know I'm personally happy to have the crew that I have. I definitely wish that Choco Wasabi Love and also
Action Glasses.
was with us, because I think it would have just been a bombastic show today. But
So, if you're just since we have a new viewer who's engaging us, it's good to do audience participation. Let's break down. If you don't mind, I will take over
Yeah,
to break down
sure.
the cast for you. So we've got our panel. We have 5 members. Only 4 appear on screen. We have ZeroXR, the host. He is the academic gamer. He is up on basically, if you've heard about it online, he heard about it yesterday. He's just really up on current affairs on games. He knows all of the things.
yeah, my particular specialty is video game culture and business. I look at the analysis of video game business, things like game sales, why they sell like they sell, and things like that. The minutiae that most gamers really don't notice too much because it's not really something the public
Sure.
gets to see.
Yeah, like why one translation team got selected over another for certain things, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Or why one publisher partnered up with a particular console because they got paid just a little extra money for a certain title or something.
So not to focus too much on any one cast member.
Yeah.
I guess second I'll go would be that I'm the only Aki. I'm kind of the power gamer. I'm the one who typically plays difficult games. I've played competitively in fighting games, things like that. But I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm a real power. I don't play like CS:GO or go to any of those kind of like big tournaments now. But I'm the one on the cast that if you're going for somebody who's likely like completed a game on a list of games, I'm probably the person on the cast who's done that. Then we have a couple more casual members who are not that they're bad gamers, they're just more casually interested in the hobby, and they bring a different voice, which we value, is Action Glasses, who is my equivalent on the casual end, in that he plays a lot of games that he'll kind of breeze over ones he's not that interested in. He is very exuberant and brings a lot of personality to the show, though.
And funny thing about Glasses, I did not know this, but he actually was part of a gaming team that was trying to
Battlefield, right?
MLG circuit, playing Halo 3 and Battlefield 3.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, when I say casual, I just mean in terms of interest in the hobby. Like, Action Glasses is by no means a slouch. Choco Wasabi Love is kind of an esoteric member. She's hard to pin. She just brings a lot of personality, but she's done so much weird stuff, like playing Final Fantasy VII in Japanese just to brush up on Japanese. Stuff like that. So Choco Wasabi Love is going to be somebody that more brings a viewpoint of like having not seen a specific game before, but has an interest in games. So we usually bring her on when it's like, hey, have you seen this crazy Rocket League car soccer game? Stuff like that, because we'll have heard of it and she hasn't.
Yeah, and it's funny because I've actually had her try out Forza Motorsport 6, which she had a blast with. She thought it was super fun. Cyanide says, any advice for gaining an audience with my channel? I only have 2 viewers. And then Chef had responded, we're trying to figure that ourselves.
Honestly, from what I'm told, and I'm not an expert, obviously, but what I'm told from more experienced streamers on Twitter, you kind of just have to keep at it, and one day you realize you're in the 4 digits, 5 digits. I am told, however, that partnering on Twitch is very difficult and has very little to do with your viewers. But if you're concerned with just viewer count, I'm told you just got to keep at it, and that it helps to have a regular schedule.
Yeah. Last member on our team.
The last member on our team kind of goes hand in hand with me, is Chef Tonberry, who you have encountered in chat. She moderates the chat and tells us when our sound levels and audio-visual stuff in general are just crummy and need to be adjusted. She's a little camera shy, but she's not too shy at engaging you guys, so feel free to chat with her, but you probably won't see her on camera.
Yeah, so let's resume on with the Game Award nominations.
Absolutely. So the next ones get a little less specific. We have Best Narrative, which is her story, which I haven't played it, but I'm inclined to probably disagree if I had, just because I know the writer. That being said, I could be wrong. Maybe he pulled one out of his hat and it's amazing.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because I'm also narrated from her story was Viva Cypher.
Yeah, she won Best Performance.
Yeah, she was a very, very lovely person and super humble person when she went on stage to get the award. There was one flub during the ceremony though. Apparently, when Jade Raymond opened up the envelope to nominate Best Performance, the envelope, her Jeff Keighley, was mistyped. The envelope had said her Viva Cypher from The Witcher 3.
Oh no.
So, of course, there was a giant Twitter mob after Jade Raymond going, you friggin' dunce, you got the wrong game, lady, Jesus.
Well, it's not her fault, of course, because she's not responsible for running the logistics of the show. But like I said, I've not seen it, and so I'm not going to smack talk it. It could be amazing. I just know Sam Barlow typically makes the same plot twist in every game. He's really big on the unreliable narrator. If you've ever played Silent Hill Shattered Memories or Silent Hill Homecoming, he's the writer for those.
Yeah.
That being said, I could be wrong. Like, I've never played it. It could be really good. It's getting universal praise.
Yeah. If it goes on sale during this Steam Christmas sale for like $3 again, I might pick it up and play through it real quick. Cyanide says, well, I followed you, so as I gain followers, I will make sure to host you because this is the most hosted channel I've ever seen, and very nice. Yeah, I would say find some friends who can help out because moderation for the chat is definitely helpful.
Oh, yeah, well, and here's the thing. It only takes one disruptive jerk to really derail a whole night if you don't have a moderator, because you can't be juggling the chat and the game and everything. And kind of, you can, but you can only expect so much quality out of your content when you do that. So, yeah, I kind of agree with Zero in that you definitely want somebody at your back on chat, just in case you get somebody coming in trying to be really lewd at your chat audience and stuff for no reason.
Yeah.
So,
let's keep going.
Yeah, Best Indie and Best Sports Racing went to the same game, Rocket League, which is kind of a darling of a lot of gamers this year. It's a game where you can customize your car in really ridiculous ways, like putting a witch hat on or stuff like that. And it's basically just a really high-speed soccer or football, however you want to call it, game.
Yeah,
played with
whichever
RC cars.
country you come from.
And it's been probably one of the better maintained games this year in terms of a developer creating content tailored toward the audience. The developers, their name escapes me off. Psyonix. They've been really good about adding seasonal content, promotional content, all kinds of content to Rocket League. The game's grown ridiculously in the last year, and it's been a pretty big success. It was even made it to being one of the free games for PlayStation Network.
Yeah, and it's actually coming out to Xbox One in February, and the promo for the Xbox One release will be a Halo themed car that's themed like a Warthog, and also a Gears of War themed car. I forget what that one's kind of themed up as. So kind of interesting because I know that there was kind of a PC PS4 sort of agreement thing going on. That it was kind of going to be sort of PC PS4 exclusive for a little bit. So good stuff there. Glad that it's coming out for all platforms, or the Xbox One platform, because it's a fun game from what I heard from people who played it. I'm personally not much of a sports fan normally, so it's kind of whatever. But
it's okay. It's not a Game Awards related, but I want to give a shout out to Fast Racing Neo. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Everyone has said it's the F-Zero game that the Wii U deserves, but never got.
If you like crazy rocket cars doing half-pipe stuff, just look it up. Fast Racing Neo. Moving on to best game for impact is what it says here. I saw it as best game for change. I don't actually know which it is. Doesn't really matter because the effect is the same. It's basically a category for games that enact a change in either the industry or the social climate of the industry, which is more important now than ever after, the controversies of last year. And there's just a generally gaming culture is trying to be more accepting than it ever has been. So what we've got is Life is Strange, the episodic release from Square Enix. Very Telltale-ish, but I personally don't have a lot of experience. I know that Eben Gray, not a cast member of ours, but we bring her up sometimes, and I know that Shaftanberry have played it. I haven't, so I can't really comment, but
yeah.
I love the idea of the gimmick of using time flubbing to change your social life.
Yeah,
that's pretty great.
And of course, there was the meme of the character choosing between pancakes and waffles earlier this year, and I kind of laughed. I was like, "There's only one correct answer to that question." Yeah,
I mean, it's waffles. They've got a better texture. Come on.
Yeah,
you can get the jelly gets all up in the little crevices. I mean, it's no contest.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we can't really comment too much on that. Not qualified, I'm afraid. So, unless you,
I did not play it actually.
I'm gonna get around to it. But I know this next one is one you've told me is my aesthetic, and I haven't gotten to yet.
Actually, Rocket League is the reason I have a Steam account, and Dungeon Defender, that and Dungeon Defenders 2.
I have Dungeon Defenders too. I haven't tried it yet. Best art direction went to Ori and the Blind Forest, and you've told me that's definitely my jam, and I need to get to it at some point. I'm super into that whole Metroidvania genre, and apparently it's got Ghibli-esque visuals.
It's Studio Ghibli meets Super Metroid.
That's really cool. I'm into it.
Yeah, so if you're into like Studio Ghibli and Super Metroid, yeah, it is not to be missed.
That's wonderful. Industry icon, Brett Sperry and Lewis Castle of Westward Studios. I don't actually know who those are. I was going to leave that to you.
I'll go into that because that goes right into my childhood. So back in the 90s, real-time strategy games were a new thing.
Mhm.
And Westward Studios, they made the Dune real-time strategy game.
Like Frank Herbert
Yeah.
Dune? Okay.
So they made the Dune real-time strategy game for PC MS-DOS. And it was huge. Everyone was like, "Oh my god!" So it's not like chess where you all are waiting for turns. It's
You gotta act now.
yeah. So which eventually led to Command and Conquer.
Mm.
So they were the founding fathers of Command and Conquer, but also
That's who
I believe that they also played something hokey, cheesy FMV actors.
Well, they're pretty influential because Jira Generals is still played competitively today. So
Yeah. So if I remember right, I believe that they're also the FMV actors who did kind of like FMV scenes where it'd be like I think one of them was Kane from Red Alert and everything.
Mhm.
How old are we? I'm in my 30s.
I am 27. As far as the other cast members, I honestly don't know. I could give you a ballpark, but I'm not sure.
Glass is in his early 20s.
Okay. I don't know about Choco Wasabi. I think
Choco
30s.
Wasabi is in the mid 30s.
Okay. And Chef is about my age-ish. So,
But yeah, Ori and the Blind Forest, definitely not a game to be missed. If you're a Studio Ghibli fan, if you're a Super Metroid fan, or if you're both, yeah, super good game, super beautiful artwork. The story is a tearjerker, much like a Studio Ghibli film. So
excellent.
prepare a box of tissues for that one.
You were on about Westward Studios, though.
Yes.
Where's that going further?
Pretty much. It was the reason they were kind of nominated as indie icons or industry icons was the fact that if Command and Conquer didn't exist, Warcraft 3 wouldn't, or Warcraft as a series wouldn't have existed.
Well, without Warcraft 3, we wouldn't have Dota. And without Dota, we wouldn't have League, Heroes, Heroes of New Earth. We wouldn't have.
Yeah, and that's actually what they got into. They're like, we started off a genre, and it's only kind of just spidered off from there. So
Yeah, well, Overwatch. Hell, we wouldn't have Overwatch, Battleborn, or what's the other new one? Epic Games has
Paragon.
Paragon. We wouldn't have any of those without Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some games that also were mods of Warcraft 3 that became games in their own right. I'm told Dwarf Fortress, maybe? I'm not 100% on that. I could be wrong.
I'm not 100% on
But-
that either.
So there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Cyanide says, so everyone here is old enough to remember retro games well.
I started gaming in 91, but I've gone back to play things from before. I mean, how could you not play the original Legend of Zelda? Come on. Chef is the same. I think Action Glasses is the youngest. He's not too retro savvy, but that's okay.
Yeah, he's played some of the retro stuff and understands the merit behind it.
Yeah, exactly. But, as far as Zero and I go, and Shaka Wasabi, absolutely, totally into that.
Oh, heck yeah. Chef says, my first game was Super Mario on the NES.
The Super Mario Duck Hunt combined cartridge that came with the console.
Likely, because that was the most common version.
See, my actual first video game ever was, I was like 4. I could maybe remembering wrong, but I'm fairly certain it was Super Mario Brothers 3. I played that a lot. But, so, okay, yeah, they're pretty influential. So we got another double category here. We've got Best Adventure Game and Best Score. Metal Gear Solid 5. The Phantom Pain. Now, Best Score, I could contend that. There were a lot of really good, well-scored games this year. Best Action Adventure? Probably. Yeah, probably. I know that's a controversial one. It disappointed a lot of Metal Gear fans. It didn't disappoint a lot more. The multiplayer, I think, was pretty much universally people found to be a little less than stellar in lieu of games like Destiny and Splatoon. Frankly, the single-player experience has so much content, it's hard to argue that it's not worth its salt, and the performances are... I mean, if you've gotten to the level... what is it? Bright Light, Even in Death, I think it's called. You get to that mission, it's such a well-performed mission. It's hard to argue. Kojima does good work. Think what you want about the man is a stickler for quality.
Yeah. Jeez, what else is there?
We've got the next one was Best Performance. We already went over the Vivus Seifert.
Yes.
Those were the only judge-voted categories. We can talk about the fan-voted categories. They're not really that interesting other than most anticipated.
Yeah, that was my feeling. I personally really didn't.
I don't really care that everybody likes Optic Gaming. I mean, if you want us to go into it, we can. We're all about what the viewers want here, obviously. But the one that most interests me for discussion, I would probably say is most anticipated. Last year, I forget if it was Witcher 3 or Zelda. I think it was Witcher 3, right?
I think.
This year, it's Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. Which is surprising. It's not shocking, but it's a little surprising. I felt like it would be... Maybe fighting games are still niche. I feel like Street Fighter 4 is pretty big news, but...
Or 5, rather.
Or 5, I'm sorry. I won't get into that whole discussion about how it's changing the fighting game model or anything. But Uncharted 4, I don't know, I'm kind of mixed on. I want it, but I kind of got a mixed signal from E3 that turned out to be wrong, and that disappointed me, though it's not the game's fault. I thought the trailer was presenting that Uncharted 4 would be open world, which was really exciting to me, but it is apparently not open world. So
yeah.
That being said, it's Naughty Dog. They're not a jack of all trades studio. They only do the one thing, but the one thing they do it incredibly well. I don't think anybody really does cinematic movie adventure games better.
Yeah.
And, what beats The Last of Us and Uncharted, really? Yeah. And Tomb Raider's kind of pretty close. Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, and the new Tomb Raider expansion that comes out the first quarter, the Witch of Baba Yaga, that actually got shown off at the Game Awards, and it is a creepy looking trailer.
I'm into that. I love folklore.
Just a super, super creepy magical witch that causes people to have hallucinations and shit. So
if you have an Xbox One, Rise of the Tomb Raider is very cool. Don't expect a game changer. It is very similar to its predecessor, but I feel like the collectibles were a little saturated. There were maybe a little too many, but other than that, the game is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's Crystal Dynamics does good work. They don't really mess around when it comes to quality. So
yeah.
I like seeing a little more life in the side characters.
And Cyanide says, I'm a huge Mega Man fanatic, and I mean huge.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can't. I lost fan cred. I haven't played the new. I haven't played Azure Striker Gunvolt. I bought it for Steam and I played it a little, but I haven't really put the time into it.
I'm waiting for an update on the 3DS version, since it's supposed to give all the same stuff that the PC version got, which is the ability to have the dialogue intact, because the English edit ripped all the dialogue out.
Yeah, I didn't even know that until somebody told me, because it's not like that on the Steam version.
Yeah.
I love Mega Man games to a point. I wouldn't say I'm like ferociously loyal, but as far as classic games go, I mean, before there was Platinum, as far as just ass-beating cool action games, Mega Man was my jam. I really loved X, Zero, all that. I loved Battle Network when I was younger, but I haven't touched it since. So I don't know if it's still my jam, but I liked ZX even. I really like the fast pace, back and forth action. The classic Mega Mans were never to my taste to play, but I'm super into watching people that are good at them play them. I'm not good at them though. It's the thing. I have beaten the first 6, but I couldn't like get into a Mega Man 3 race or anything like that and perform.
Oh yes, and Aki, if you've not seen the sword, here's the sword in action. You can defend against bullets.
Really, that wasn't a thing with the Sword of Crota.
No. And you can just go absolutely nuts and just slash at dudes.
This is what you always wanted when you became a blade dancer.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why it's my man Zero here. Is if the game has guns in it, but there's a melee option, he will pick the melee option.
Yeah.
And I'm largely the same way.
Yeah, but the Taken King added the sword, and ever since I was like, my dreams of slashing up aliens has come true.
That's pretty sweet. Did your battery die? You what? Oh, Chef's over here. I assume playing Luigi's Mansion. Yeah, playing Luigi. She just got herself a 3DS recently and decided to go hog at GameStop and pick up a bunch of games.
Oh, speaking of games, the end of the year's coming up. I kind of wanted to touch lightly on a project that we may either do as a recording for our show, and if I do it as a recording, I'll likely host it on YouTube.
Sure.
And if you want to find me, it's just search me by my nickname, 0xr13mg or 0xr13 milligrams.
Okay. I think I know where you're going with this.
So, this holiday, there are 2 big bombastic releases for PS4 and Xbox One. That would be Rock Band 4 and Guitar Hero Live. Probably some of the most anticipated games that people have been waiting with bated breath on.
I mean, those are the biggest names in Western rhythm games, period.
Yeah, ever since Konami got out of the rhythm game thing, so...
Yeah, well, no, those were never Western. I mean, Western developed, at least.
No, but
right?
they've
you
kind
mean
of...
like DDR and stuff, right?
Yeah, and unfortunately, with Konami getting out of the gaming business, that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, that's a different... We would have to dedicate a whole night to that.
Yeah, it's just that it's been the thing that everyone's been waiting on, going, when are we going to get a Guitar Hero game,
proper Rock Band successor.
Yep, and everyone has been waiting, and I get it.
Hey, I know Yeehaw 6 has.
Yeah.
So yeah, this project.
So pretty much the project I want to do is I want to kind of get the show staff together, and if I can't get enough show staff members together, maybe some folks who are local to the Dallas, Texas area to meet up with me and do a on-site compare and contrast of really both games, because I will thank her on the show proper when I get my fingers on Guitar Hero Live. But one GameStop has actually donated generously to our show a wonderful gift for the Guitar Hero Live, and I'll talk about that when we do the review project. Now, if I can get enough staff members to appear live, I would love to
A comparison night? Is
to
that
do
what
a
I'm
comparison
feeling?
night. Correct.
Oh, baby. I can't wait for that. I love karaoke. You guys are going to have to be tortured by my vocals. Yeah, well, I got to warn you. I may be self-loathing, but I did get somebody an achievement for getting a 100% rating on a Freddie Mercury song in Rock Band 3, so
Yeah,
I'm no slouch.
and I will warn everyone, due to how complicated music labels operate in the U.S. Unfortunately, for if we do a comparison night live on the air, I will have to mute out all the music because I've seen people who have posted full like runs of songs and it'll be on for like a day.
Absolutely can't post an archived version of it. No, maybe we might be able to do it live. I'm not sure.
No, Twitch will silence you.
Okay, I know we
detected.
can't do YouTube.
Yeah.
We definitely can't do YouTube or an archived video for certain.
Yeah. So a little sad about that, but I get it. There are laws in place.
Yeah, it's a licensing issue. It's not our content. The music's not our content, so
Yeah.
we don't get to make that call. Yeah, I mean, we don't. If we're out of topics, I'm all for engaging the audience. I mean, if our audience wants to talk Mega Man, I'm down. I'm pretty conversant in Mega Man.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on Inti Creates in general? I mean, obviously you're hyped for Mighty Number 9. Do you have any specific game modes that were backer rewards that you're most hyped for? Kind of curious about the co-op gameplay myself. I can't really see that working that well, but if it is, it'd be really cool. I know Keiji Inafune has said that his original vision for the NES Mega Man games was for Roll to be a player too, but Nintendo vetoed that, which, if you look back, Nintendo was pretty notorious about female protagonists and cutting them back in the late 80s, early 90s. They didn't do it all the time, but they did it a lot. And I feel like maybe this is him trying to realize that vision finally.
Yeah, and that was back during the old Howard Lincoln days when Howard Lincoln was the president of Nintendo of America.
Oh, the whole no crosses in Castlevania guy.
Yes, that would be him if anyone needs a reference.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about. I know a lot of people were mad about visual changes in Mighty Number 9. I'm not really sure. I didn't follow it closely enough to care, I guess.
I think it was stuff like stuff that was in the concept sketches no longer match what's actually being deployed in the final retail version. Or
I mean, I guess you can make a business argument that it's shady if people donated, but on the other hand, it's like, I don't know, if you can enjoy Mega Man 9 and 10 with a retro look, do the visuals really matter that much in terms of their quality if it fits stylistically? I mean, I would make that argument because I feel like it's not like the people making Mighty Number 9 are trying to make a garbage game. I don't think they make a decision to do that. I mean, they're making the choice to make the visuals the way they are because that's, with the resources they have, the best they can do.
Yeah, it's one of those, I would say, it's not the intent of malice. I forget how the old saying goes. It's just like, it may not be the intent of malice, but the limitations of the situation or something like that. I forget. There's a saying about it.
For sure. I mean, it's the same deal with the visuals in Bloodstained that are coming out now that I think are pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
You've seen the different lighting demonstration?
Yeah, I actually voted for the second one, which kind of gives it more dark and gothic.
Exactly, right? Because that's what I was feeling. I mean, the whole point is to go for that whole gothic, late 1800s.
Yeah,
whatever.
I thought it was cool though that they kind of left it to the players, and I hope that pretty much that got the majority vote, because I would be a little upset if that didn't. But I get that.
Sure, I super into this whole movement of Castlevania, Mega Man, things like that coming back. Also, Shantae Half Genie Hero. I'm super into that. From what I've seen, I didn't get a chance to play because I didn't have a lot of money to back it when it was in its campaign phase.
Yeah.
That and plus kind of most of the things I've been watching on Kickstarter lately have actually been tabletop games. But, I really like this whole Kickstarter gaming thing. I mean, obviously there's a lot of bad out there, but if people know how to run a Kickstarter campaign, you get stuff like Indivisible happening.
I just remembered a point for the little Rock Band 4 versus Guitar Hero project. I did not know this until I went to the Guitar Hero Live website. It does support a microphone, so it does support a vocal part.
For Guitar Hero?
Yes.
Oh, cool. So that's no longer just a Rock Band thing.
Yeah.
That's excellent, because that was kind of the main draw of Rock Band over Guitar Hero for me, is that I'm a nerd and I like karaoke.
So the cool thing is you can have 2 players on the guitar, 1 person on microphone singing through stuff, which I thought was kind of neat. And for those who were big fans of Guitar Hero and DJ Hero, the new Guitar Hero is made by Freestyle Games, which are the guys who were conceptually behind DJ Hero. So if you loved DJ Hero, do yourself a favor and pick up Guitar Hero Live, because you're probably gonna be head over heels for it.
I got a buddy who is into that.
Yeah, definitely let him know.
I don't know. I haven't actually followed that whole scene a lot, honestly, but
Yeah.
I do know the last time I played Rock Band 3 in a large group, I had a blast. So I'm kind of hoping that translates over into one of these 2 games.
Yeah, Rock Band 4 actually, and I didn't know this until I read through one of the tutorial messages on the screen.
Mhm.
It supports up to 3 microphones.
Hey,
And for me, all I would just need to do is just pick up 2 more microphones, because I got the big band-in-a-box kit. So I have the drums, the guitar, and 1 microphone. I do find it a little ironic that they call it a band-in-a-box kit when you're still missing 1 guitar to play bass.
you're gonna get evicted if we do this.
I don't think it would get that crazy.
If my folks come in, we are all 3 singing Styx Renegade.
Oh,
It's
geez.
happening.
I don't think I have that song. I mean, I'm limited to the 92 songs that I
I
have.
don't care. I'll sing it anyway. You play something else, I'll just sing Styx Renegade.
Oh, jeez.
I'll find a way. What did that purple turn out to be, by the way?
I haven't revealed it yet.
Ooh. Well, let's do that when you get a chance. That's interesting.
Okay.
I
More coins and a gun.
I don't just want to derail and talk about stuff we're excited for or stuff that we like. How about we'll keep it focused to what we've been doing recently, because I know
that's a great topic.
there's some
actually.
overlap for you and I.
Yeah, most certainly.
And obviously Cyanide, if he's still here, is a Wii U owner and is possibly in the same boat.
Yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles X,
Good.
super good.
Oh my god.
I've never really been a fan of the whole like single player MMO type of RPG, but I'm super dig Xenoblade X. I really like it. As a tabletop role playing fan, Dungeons and Dragons and the like, it has such a minimalist approach to role playing compared to stuff like Fallout or whatnot. But it's so good at it. You can really build a character up in your head of like, my character's a scientist and I like to research guns and stuff like that, and play your character out that way in Xenoblade X, because the template is there.
Okay, time to reveal what this purple is.
Cool, let's do it.
And Sublime is a little bit better than a standard purple.
So
Engram
it could
2.
become an exotic.
Yes.
Well, for random class, wouldn't that be a
Oh
kick?
man, I already have those gloves.
Well,
Damn
I
it.
guess you're about to break those into components.
Yeah.
You literally have those.
Yes, I do.
Well, that's a letdown. But hey, free perps, I guess.
No, free legendary marks, which those are awesome. You need those to mod up guns too. So.
There you go. So yeah, I know.
But yeah, Xenoblade legitimately surprises me. I know that there was a lot of dissension online. People were like, "Oh, the story's so boring and blasé." So
I honestly, and I told Chef Tonberry, there were even points in that game, and maybe it's just my age and working the way I do. I don't have a lot of time anymore, that I have less patience. But I felt like the story was even a little intrusive at points in that. But not overall, just like there are certain parts early on where they're over-explaining things.
yeah,
I don't feel like there's a lack of story. I feel like maybe JRPG fans are just accustomed to a more present story, or at least like a more upfront story.
yeah,
Because a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles X's story is also told through the environment. Like, I don't know how far you are, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a point where there is an object that appears to be inactive in a large body of water. And if you go near it, it turns out that it is one of the villains from the first Xenoblade Chronicles, and it is not inactive. Or at least it looks a lot like one. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff you'd see in Dark Souls, where there is a story, but it's in the environment. It is not physically always there in your face. And that's okay. That's okay with me.
yeah,
You know, like, there's a story to be told, when you find a rank 3 archaeological like body laying in a swamp, you know something happened here. So, like I said, I dig it.
Yeah. Oh my God, Miss Cat Bear, what are you doing? Thank you for sitting,
She,
Miss Cat.
she wants to be on the show. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, just Xenoblade Chronicles X, probably one of my more legitimate surprises.
I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did.
And it's funny because I was kind of the same way. I was like, I don't really think I'm gonna put too much time into it. It'll probably be one of those I'll put a little bit of time into it.
I super wanted it because I just bought my big, fancy, awesome TV. That's the size of a wall and all that. But I thought, oh, this game's gonna be great. Even Digital Foundry's saying it performs like crazy and it's super pretty. But I started playing it and I was just like, for just running around killing animals mostly, like. That's another thing. Every time Elma's like, "Oh, you shouldn't be killing the wildlife," I'm like, "Whoops." But I just super dig it. I like that game a lot. I'm normally, and again, I'm kind of outspoken against how many games that right now are like trying to make you make them your only game, like Fallout and stuff like that. The Witcher 3 is not too bad like that. I don't feel like, but. And it's worth the time to spend on it. But this game really sucks you in because you get this like I don't know. It has a way of making you want to see where this is going mechanically. Like how the heck are these giant robots going to work in gameplay?
Yeah.
How is my class going to work? Because you're like, okay, I have a sword. Now I have a big sword, and according to this chart, my sword will soon be fire.
Yeah.
Which it's like, I gotta see this. Or like, if you read Enforcer, it's like, okay, so I have a giant ray gun bazooka, but this says I'm gonna be a Jedi soon.
Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers stuff. I mean...
Yeah, well, one of them is literally the class is that you have a javelin and a sniper rifle, which is, I mean, there's just some weird stuff. I'm into it. I really like that game, and there's a story. Don't listen to the haters. There's definitely a story. It's compelling enough to have kept me interested, and I'm usually pretty picky about story in games.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's my thing. I went in, kept my expectations pretty low. I was like, okay, I get it, just it is what it is, and then just got into it. I was like, I don't know why there's such heated dissension over it. I was like, I don't think it's really legitimately as bad as everyone's making it out to be. So, really, really good stuff. And if you own a Wii U and you do not have Xenoblade Chronicles X, do yourself a favor and go buy it. Just stop whatever you're doing. You can put Twitch on your phone and you can keep paying attention to us and everything. But
yeah, plug us into your aux jack. Listen while you drive.
Yeah. So, really, really exciting stuff. And
if you're worried about space, it's worth the investment to get a hard drive. The game is worth getting a hard drive for, because I got a hard drive just to play that game, and I'm glad I have now that I have both Fatal Frame and that game. But you won't regret it. It's worth it. There's a lot of games on the Wii U that are really worth buying a console over.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it. There's some people who have just complained to high hell. Oh my god. So it's either have the game look super pretty, super crappy until you buy until you download all the data packs and make it look super pretty, or you just get the game digitally, buy a big ass hard drive, and just have the entire game as a digital on your hard drive.
Well, yeah, but then conversely, think about it like this: the data packs are pretty cool functionally, because the Wii U is just a souped up GameCube, and when you think about it that way, the fact that they could use this kind of digital wizardry to make the game work as smoothly as it does, it's cool. I'm into it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's worth the download. I mean, it really is. I need to know where Xur is because I want to see what weapons he has.
Oh my gosh, is there really a Xur locator online?
Yes, there is.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Come
Hey,
here.
Mog.
Come here, cat.
One of the furry residents of this abode.
Yes, my furry little kitten.
I've been playing that. Played Old Hunters recently. If you like Dark Souls type games, or if you like old Castlevania, the Old Hunters has a really cool boss fight, and I'm not really sure how much I can talk about without spoiling, so I'll just say it's kind of like a duel with another player, but on crack. It's really cool. It's hard to explain. I'm into that, though. Yakuza 5 is pretty neat if you're into that series. I would actually recommend, if you haven't played it, you play Yakuza 4. Each game in the series has a cinematic recap of previous games, and each recap per game is about 20 minutes, half an hour. They're pretty in-depth, so you won't feel too left out. 4 is a really good starting point in the series. If you've never heard of it, that's okay. It gets poor marketing in the West, but let me tell you, it is not an underdog series that you've never heard of. In Japan, they literally have special edition consoles just made out for this series. It's huge in its home country. So
Yeah, because Yakuza 0 got PlayStation 4 faceplates for both the black and white PS4 models.
yeah, well, and the other thing is I've sold people on this series before. If you're shy, it's not a Grand Theft Auto or Mafia ripoff. It actually, the main character's not even in the mob. I don't know why they called it that. I guess they thought it'd be simpler to pitch it in the West in 2006 when the first one came out. But in actuality, the series is named in Japan, translates to "Be as a Dragon," and it's really just kind of about people who aren't in organized crime in Japan trying to cope with living near organized crime and how it affects their life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd
So-
say that's pretty much an apt way of putting it.
Gameplay wise, it's like an RPG version of the old like beat 'em ups, like Final Fight and Streets of Rage, River City Ransom. More than that, I would say it's kind of like a full realization of what The Bouncer tried to be on PlayStation 2. I've also had a friend describe it as, the final boss fight of Metal Gear Solid 4? It's like that, but that's every fight. Which, that's not inaccurate.
Yeah.
Very cinematic. Either way, I can't recommend it enough. If you're into story-driven games or just beating ass, it's really good for both. But I wouldn't recommend Yakuza 5 as your first one.
Yeah, I can definitely hear that. So
That's about it for me. I've kind of been trying to catch up on Majora's Mask 3D, but I've been sick, and it's getting to the end of the year. Work's been crazy, so I've been trying to stay afloat. I've got a huge backlog.
yeah, for me, obviously Xenoblade Chronicles X. Action Glasses, when he went to go pick up his Darth Vader PS4 for the launch of Battlefront, he surprise gifted me a second Christmas gift. First Christmas gift was a digital limited edition copy of StarCraft 2: Legacy of the Void,
Wonderful.
which I've been getting into StarCraft again because I don't know, just ever since I've hit my 30s, I've been getting more and more of a taste for strategy games, and it's
You've
just
been super into Heroes of the Storm this year.
oh yeah, it's definitely been something really nutty.
I just got gifted a character in that game from Zero himself, actually, so I'll probably be trying to clear off some desk space, and maybe I'll try that out tomorrow, because you viewers may not know this about me, but if there is a bug character, I probably like that character in a game, and I found that this game has 2.
Yep.
So,
But anyhow, so when I went to go help him pick up his Vader PS4 and everything, he ended up surprising me at the end. He was like, "Oh hey, P.S. By the way, here's a copy of Battlefront Deluxe Edition, which has the DLC key for for the people who bought into it." So that was a legitimate surprise. I did not expect that from him. So
yeah, Action Glasses is a huge Star Wars fan, so
yeah,
and I'm sure he didn't want to be lonely. I mean, you
yeah.
want friends at your back in games like that, because that's basically, I kind of know what it is, but I'm asking more for the viewer if they're casually acquainted. It's basically Battlefield, but Star Wars, right? essentially.
Yeah, the sound design is brilliant. It makes you feel like you're in the movies.
I've heard that. With headphones, apparently, it's a pretty cinematic experience.
Oh yes, because when you play some of the bigger maps where you can pilot TIE fighters and X-wings and A-wings
For sure.
and things like that, if you're on the ground, if you're one of the grunts on the ground and someone in an X-wing flies and buzzes right past you, you could swear you were on the frickin' planet. It's how amazing the sound design is.
I know I've heard from people that the vehicle combat's not super great in the new one. That's okay. If they come out with another one with better vehicle combat, I might be game, because I actually have, believe it or not, for my age, some old school PC gaming cred, and I actually played in a local competitive league of Star Wars TIE Fighter. When I was younger, I played X-Wing Alliance specifically. I piloted a TIE Interceptor.
Yeah, so,
Shields are for nerds.
oh man, that is nuts, but, jeez, what else has been on my list? Rockman 4, because I got the Band in a Box kit. If any of y'all are watching this show are wondering, I'm a guitar guy. I couldn't play drums to save my own life.
It's okay. It's not for everyone.
Yeah, one of my buddies, he's a drum player, so he was like, "Let me know when you get buck wild on this. I'll get you back on drums." And I was like, "Yes."
Excellent.
So
Do I know that, buddy?
yes, but goes by Acid Burn on PSN.
I know that, buddy.
Yeah, he's
I
a
work
big.
with that, buddy.
Yeah, he's a drum guy, so he was like, "Hey
Cool.
man, let me know. I will cover you on drums." I was like, "Yes." So there's that. Rock Band 4, really fun game. I did not know about the whole 3 microphone thing, which I think is awesome.
It is. Curious logistically how that works. How you would think there'd be sound pollution, but maybe you can calibrate that to not be a case. I mean, technology is pretty amazing.
Yeah, so there's that. Portably, I've been playing a lot of visual novels.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot more coming out to the West. Now, you told me recently that you've experimented with some otome novels. Are there any you could recommend? Because I actually kind of dig that genre.
Well, for perspective, let's step back for a second.
Sure.
So, the visual novel I finished a while ago was X-Blaze Code Embryo, which is the prequel series to the Blaze Blue series. It explains how the Earth gets super polluted.
All
and
of the
Sether.
Sether, thank you. Yes.
How the Sether pollutes the Earth, and just everyone gets sick and either dies or mutates or whatever. So pretty heavy stuff. And then it gets into some of the more interesting things. You get to see the origins of one character. I won't spoil that for anyone who's a big guilty or
I bet
Excuse
it's
me.
Rockman. I'm just
No.
No. Wow.
It's the origins of one character from Blaze Blue. Pretty significant. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who
Fair
is
enough.
interested in playing X-Blaze, because if you're a Blaze Blue fan, you need to do yourself a favor and pick it up. It's very short. You can go through one run of one chapter of the story to get the first ending within 6 hours.
Okay, it's pretty
so-
short for visual novel.
Yeah, and then subsequent playthroughs you can skip through dialogue you've already seen, so you can really speed up your subsequent replays to get all the other endings. And then that was when I dove into some of my stuff in my visual novel library. And that was when I decided to pick an otome game. I ended up actually picking up Code Realized. I think the subtitle is Legacy of the Guardian.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of an interesting one. It's an Idea Factory game made by the Otomate label. So nothing but girly romance novels. I don't care. I just like visual novels, period. So as long as the story's good, I'm perfectly cool with it.
I mean, fuck the police. If somebody says a game is a game for girls or for boys, that's not going to stop me or Chef Tom Berry from playing it. So
Yeah.
if I want to play a game, I'm going to play it. You can call it a game for girls. I don't care. Doesn't matter. It's a game for me.
So pop in Code Realized, let it do its first patch update and everything, and I think it was just like a stability patch. So I was like, okay, no big deal.
Sure.
Launch the game. Setting is interesting. It is in 1860s Britain. but with a steampunk.
Victorian steampunk
Yes.
deal.
The plot is the main character. I think the game names her Clara. I forget. I'd have to pull up my game again.
You get to name the character.
You can, but I think her default name's like Clara or something like that.
It's a pretty period name.
So basically, the main character, she has this debilitating curse. Anything her skin or her bodily fluids touches dissolves and dies.
She's a xenomorph alien.
So and it's really sad because her dad has just kept her under lock and key for her entire life and has basically said that if there's one thing that you must never ever do in life, you must never ever fall in love. Because everything you touch that you love will literally die.
Like, that's a pretty terrible curse. Everything she touches literally dies. Like, some people feel that way, but it is the factual truth about her.
Yeah, so pretty much, she lives all of her childhood life just locked up away from just people that she may have romantic interest in, and then one day her dad just disappears because he has to go somewhere, and he instructs her never ever leave the house, never ever.
Of course she does.
Well, that's where the game starts off. Something happens, her dad never gets back.
So she has to.
So she being the loyal and obedience daughter she is, goes, okay, well, Dad told me not to leave, so I'm just gonna stick around here. I don't care what the house looks like. I'm just gonna, follow his orders and his wishes because that's what he expected of me. And of course, years and years go by. Nobody knows where her dad is and everything. And finally, I missed the grenade toss. Finally, the British Army is mobilized to move on her home with the pretense that there's a grotesque monster living in her home. And of course, the units move in and everything, and all that at the same time. There's kind of a snarky, charming, and arrogant thief who's after the big score, and of course, he kind of starts off with, yeah, I'm waiting for the big score. Ooh, hey, the military is after something too, and then dramatic surprise, the big score and the big monster
It's her.
is her.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not shitting on this game at all. I have to point this out for viewers, and Chef Tonberry's probably thinking it too. This is literally Tangled. The movie Tangled. It is.
What is?
Well, the plot of the novel that Zero is describing. That there's a girl locked up with powers. She's the thief looking for a big score, and he's kind of not wanting to deal with things that the military wants, which happens to be her as well. It's basically Tangled.
So
that's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, just really, really, really wonderfully crafted game and everything.
Sure.
And they picked really good Japanese voice actors too, because usually, I'm not expecting like award-winning actors from like animes and stuff. And I get it because some of these video game companies just don't have the stratospheric budgets.
Yeah. Oh, well, especially on Vita and stuff too.
Yeah, so I was legitimately surprised. I was just like, if some of these Ultimate label games are just as good, I may have to pick up more. And Axis Games actually translated another one, which was called Norn 9 Bar Commons, which is kind of a high school drama sort of Ultimate game. So if you kind of like the more high school-y setting, then that may be up your alley.
I have been recommended by some folks, and I've not read it myself. 999 and Virtue's Last Reward. And all that.
Yep, and then of course the final game, which is Zero Escape 3. I think Virtue's Final Chapters, the title. I forget the exact subtitle of it, but
I don't hate anime or anything like that, but I am also a little overexposed at this point, so I usually kind of avoid the high school, teenager-y type setting, but somebody also told me I probably would dig Danganronpa. I'm kind of aware of what it is. I'm not, completely ignorant to it, but I don't know much about it other than that apparently a website, somethingawful.com, is basically almost single-handedly responsible for it coming to the West in terms of like having a market that would buy it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I love the internet. Weird stuff like that happens. Because apparently some guy who did screenshot Let's Plays on the forum, Something Awful, was translating it as he went because he figured, no, it's a cool game, nobody in the West has heard of it, and the anime hadn't come out. And as a result, then the anime came out, and then it immediately came out translated in the West on the Vita. I think that kind of thing is super cool.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's
It
one of
already had a
those-
market here.
Yeah, and I mean, those are kind of the wonderful, like sweet stories that sometimes happen when the internet gathers for like a common good purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So super wonderful, happy ending sort of stuff. And of course, Ultra Despair Girls, I think, is either coming out or already out. I
Yeah,
forget.
that's the sort of like warrior style game or whatever.
I think.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't touch that until I actually read the thing. I wouldn't want spoilers.
Yeah, I've yet to finish Danganronpa 1, so.
But I've heard from people that, and I've heard this is not the case with Zero's Last Reward, but I've heard with Danganronpa the second one is not quite as good as the first one. Apparently the second one is pretty much just your standard anime fare for the most part.
Ah, jeez.
As far as like really big-breasted characters and really like over-the-top, like Wunderkind, Child Genius, very anime type stuff. It's apparently not necessarily as common in the first. I don't know. I've never read it.
Yeah, so, speaking of big jugs and anime tropes and stuff, so there was some, we'll touch on this topic lightly, there was some controversy over Dead or Alive 3 Extreme Volleyball, like coming out to the States. Apparently, Koei Tecmo went from originally saying, yeah, we're thinking about having come to the States, to just a unofficial spokesperson on the Dead or Alive page saying, with the social media climate, I don't think it's a wise idea for us to bring games like this when people have scorn for these sort of titles.
Well, and you also have to understand, if you're in tune with the business environment of games, is that Koei Tecmo's been trying super hard over the last year to cultivate a certain image and a certain reputation with the West, on the PC front especially. And I feel like they've got a brand, at this point in the West of like, they're one of only a couple of studios that do, or like a couple of, publishers from Japan that do in-house porting to PC. That's, instead of hiring like a crappy nobody studio to do it.
Yeah.
And I feel like they might be justified in feeling like that might hurt their brand that they've been building in the West. Because they've gotten a lot of, believe it or not, the Warriors series has a lot of entries, spin-offs and whatnot. But in the West right now, the PC community is currently enamored with Samurai Warriors 4-2, which actually didn't really sell all that well on console, but apparently it's kind of a darling on PC. So
Yeah, especially since PC's been in a bit of a Japanese video game drop for the longest while, because PC was seen as sort of the otaku sort and everything. Oh, he's still there. Awesome, fantastic.
Well, in my defense, I tried to engage you with Mega Man stuff earlier. I didn't hear back.
But yeah. So I mean, so of course Koei Tecmo issued that statement, and then of course on PlayAsia, or somebody from PlayAsia's media team posted on Twitter, "Oh hey guys, we're going to be importing the Asian version, which has English context menu text, so you won't not understand what's going on with the menus and stuff. So you can import it from us." And then of course some of the community, they cried out. They're like, "Well, see, the Asian version's already translated. How hard can it be to just slap an English label and go?" Which they're ignoring the logistics of things like licensing agreements and stuff like that.
The other thing is that then the situation got a little inflamed when the PlayAsia rep started kind of basically saying, like, if you want to stick it to social justice warriors, come here and
throw your money at us.
Yeah, which is kind of in bad taste, I guess, because it's not like people. I mean, I know some people have disdain for like social justice warrior, whatever, but it's not. I feel like it's not a fight anybody that like is a business. Like opinions on the matter aside, because I have opinions on the matter, but let's not get into that. Business only. It's not a smart move to get into politics when it comes to an entertainment product. You don't want to.
Oh hell no!
You don't want to do that. So it's really, I felt like it was unwise for PlayAsia to throw a hat into that fight.
Yeah,
But and I feel like they probably didn't as a company, but like whoever controls their Twitter account, it seems.
yeah, that was a little bit in poor taste. And then of course, gosh, what's it called? And then from the creator Senran Kagura, also he's actually making another game called Valkyrie Drive Bikuni, which has got a lot of Yuri themes, girls turning into weapons and after making out with each other and all sorts of crazy insanity. And of course,
That's gonna have a tough time finding a market in the West.
yeah, but it is another game that's possibly under the purview of Xseed Games.
Hey, Xseed brings over a lot of stuff, even things people wouldn't expect. So you never know.
Japan keeps getting all the good games to themselves.
I don't know. There was a period where that was true for the last year or so, but I mean, with Ryuga Gotoku coming over,
As Yakuza, for those not in the know.
sorry, yeah, and then we're probably apparently getting the new Valkyria Chronicles when it comes out. I feel like that dry spell might be coming to an end. I mean, we're still going to miss out on some of the obscure portables, but we've been getting a lot of Japanese games lately compared to like 2014, 2013.
Yeah, and I would say mostly the bigger piece of the puzzle is more localization and licensing. Because if you're not familiar, check out how draconian the streaming rules are for Dragon Quest Heroes.
Yeah,
for both Steam and PS4.
I tried streaming it, so did Zero. You actually can't hear the voices.
Yeah,
It's the same with a couple of the Warrior games have that because they couldn't afford to buy the licensed rights for the voice actors in the U.S.
on top of
Right.
that, Jazzrack, which is the equivalent of the RIAA in Japan, they actually have a lockout saying you have to open up a contract with us.
Yeah, it's like a voice actors guild, right, or something.
It's a vocal artist guild that basically covers voice actors and musicians.
Gotcha.
And pretty much they said, oh well, if you want to do that, you need to obtain permission from us because these are artists that work under our label. So you must obtain our licenses. And apparently, they had an agreement with YouTube because YouTube has a very advanced tagging system that can just kind of auto snipe people who are thieving songs and music and stuff like
Sure.
that. So basically, Jazzrack was head over heels over that. So you can stream on YouTube, but if you stream on Twitch, your stream is automatically muted out immediately.
Yep, and that's rough. It happens, but
Yeah, so I mean that's personally my opinion on the whole. They don't have enough stuff coming out here.
Same.
Yeah, and I mean, granted, nowadays most systems are region free. The Xbox One is region free.
Heck yeah. So is the PS4. The PS3 was. My very first Souls game, I was under the understanding that Demon's Souls would never come out in the US, and so I actually imported the Asian version because it was in English.
Yeah,
I have imported so many fighting games.
yeah, and I mean, really, there's just it's not as dry as a market as it used to be back in the day.
I mean, we still don't get some stuff that are. I don't think we got the last Sengoku Basra.
No, which apparently has cameos from folks who represent the Sumeragi clan.
Ooh.
So there's that, but I think that's more marketing and global appeal.
Yeah, I kind of agree. The Warriors series is huge, and that always has a hard enough time getting a foothold. Sengoku Basra kind of rivals that to a point in Japan, but it doesn't here.
Yeah,
And it's
so-
their own dang fault for trying to pull that whole Devil Kings shenanigans on the PS2 of let's change it from history to fantasy. That was
Yeah,
not
that
smart.
was in poor taste.
That was in poor taste. The idea that Westerners are so dumb that we couldn't appreciate Japanese historical fiction is just silly.
Yeah, and also, speaking of localization chaos, me and you had a talk earlier this week about the Yakuza games that take place in ancient Japan.
Yeah, we've got
Kenzan and Ishin.
Kenzan takes place in the Edo period,
And Ishin, I think, is the Meiji Restoration, right?
Pre-Meiji Restoration, if I remember right.
Yeah. Well, I just know I saw Shinsengumi like uniforms, and I wasn't 100% on.
Yeah, if I remember, it's like maybe 1 to 2 years before.
It's clearly at a point when the shogunate was in power. Is all I can say.
Yeah.
I'm not a Japanese history major.
Yeah. And the big reason I don't think that those games will ever come out to the U.S. is because they get into the very, very, very touchy, hot button topic of child prostitution.
Yeah. Well, that was a thing back then, and
Yeah.
Ryuga Gotoku tries to be about as gritty as Japanese censorship boards will allow them to be.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
while Japan has pretty loose censorship on porn, they're pretty strict when it comes to drug use, violence, gambling, things that would be considered dark themes that are pretty common in portrayal in Western media.
Oh, yeah.
So Ryuga Gotoku is actually considered to be pretty adult for Japan, though it's pretty tame by Western standards.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, that's really the localization stuff.
So what kind of cool Mega Man swag do you have? If you can, we will, obviously we're on a little bit of a time delay compared to when you can post, so we'll get back to you as you post. But
And also, Cyanide had said, "Oh, well, I was mainly referencing about older Japanese games." Yeah, fair
for
point
sure.
on that because
Oh yeah, it used to be really bad.
because when Howard Lincoln was in power for Nintendo of America, yeah, there was a lot of great stuff that
So-
never came out.
Well, and so many weird ones. Okay, like, I think the biggest crime in the Super Nintendo era that didn't come out here, I could be wrong. I mean, Star Ocean's a fair argument, but Ganbare Goemon, really cool Legend of Zelda-like series / beat-em-up series that just didn't come out here. One of them did, and for whatever reason they changed Goemon and Abysmaru's name to be Kid Yang and Dr. Yin or something like that.
Yeah,
What a weird decision.
yeah,
What a weird decision. Their names aren't that hard to say. Like,
Yeah.
I played Mystical Ninja starring Goemon as a child, and I was able to pronounce the names.
yeah. That was an uncanny, weird decision.
But that's a fun series if you've never played.
Terra Enigma was another one.
I played the ROM of that. Terra Enigma is super cool.
Yeah, and I think that was mostly because it got into creation myths, and again, Howard Lincoln was in power, and he was anti-religious themes, anti-esoteric.
You can't have people asking these questions like, where did we come from?
Yeah, so
No matter how much Mode 7 this game has.
yeah, so definitely there's that, and then of course, I think it's thankfully a lot of the gaming labels realizing that gaming is now a global culture.
That's a good point, though. I guess that's probably why ActRaiser was so much bigger on the Sega as a concept.
Well, not really ActRaiser. I mean, ActRaiser still came out. They just changed all the God and Satan themes to the Master and the Evil One or something like that. It was really cool.
all I ever heard was about that game was always the Sega and the arcade versions.
Well, it was an Enix game, and Enix games only came out on, or mostly came out on the SNES and Super Famicom. Whereas I know Sword of Vermilion was kind of similar with a lot of the mythology sort of things, and yeah, I don't really think any of the ActRaiser stuff ever hit the Genesis Mega Drive.
Did it not? Oh,
I
well.
don't believe so.
Well, there you go. I was incorrect.
So,
I'm not super familiar with the original, but I did play some of ActRaiser 2.
yeah,
That was the one that was a little more action-y,
yeah. I mean, and
if
then
I remember right. A
and
little
then
less
before
RPG.
ActRaiser, there was Soul Blazer, which
Yeah.
Soul Blazer, holy crap, that was, man, lots and lots of. You could tell that there were a lot of God references, but they had to creatively skirt the issues.
One thing I thought was really cool when I was younger, I played a ROM of an English translation of the original Star Ocean. It's a Super Nintendo game, but the characters have context-sensitive voice clips that are like specific to other characters. So like somebody will say something if another party member dies in battle, but it will be tailored to that specific party member. And that's really not something you saw common until like modern games for the most part, and that's really cool to see in a Super Nintendo game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I enjoyed a lot of RPGs from that era.
Yeah,
But I could have just been that I was younger and had more time, or maybe just different tastes. But I really liked Final Fantasy VI and stuff like that.
yeah. So definitely really interesting stuff. Gosh, what else is there about Japanese video game culture that I could probably go off on?
It's a lot more arcadey,
Yeah.
typically.
Oh yes. Speaking of the Yakuza Ryuga Gotoku tangent, so Japan is getting the Yakuza 1 remake.
Kiwami.
Yeah, Kiwami, and Kiwami's best translation would be equated to like the English word extreme. So if it does get translated, I imagine it's probably going to be called Yakuza Extreme or something like that.
Yeah.
It's actually getting a demo of Yakuza Ryuga Gotoku 6.
Which is significant because it has been about 3 or so years, whatever, I don't know, since they've actually advanced the story of the series. It's all been prequels and spin-offs since like 2010.
Yeah. So I'm really, really curious as to when we'll get, if and when we'll get Yakuza Extreme, because I personally am a little new to the Yakuza stuff. So for me, I would love to be able to play Yakuza Extreme on my PS4 and kind of get to know Kiryu Kazuma as a character a little better.
Well, and we know we're getting Zero. I'm hoping we're getting 1's remake as well, because Chef Tonberry is newer to the series, but she's only seen 4 and some of 5 and recaps. So she knows what happened, but it's different when you see it yourself. And I've told, because she said she's wanted to go back through the older games, and I've told her at this point, honestly, I would wait to see if we're getting the remake of 1 than to play the PS2 version is a little rough.
Yeah.
And also, honestly, just brand recognition. They used all English voices in our version of Yakuza 1, and the voices aren't bad, but you get so used to hearing, because they have such high-profile actors, such good actors.
Because the 4 localization was amazing, because I played that when it was a free PSN title.
So good.
And I was just like, wow, they actually kept the Japanese actors. Wow, this is amazing.
And they have since 3 and onward, 2 and onward, but the other thing is, some people complain that the localization isn't totally accurate because they add curse words, but that's bullshit. If those characters spoke English, they would speak that way. Like, Saejima is a guy who went into prison. This isn't a spoiler. It's literally the first scene he's in the game. He went down for multiple counts of murder in prison, and the people were complaining that he's more vulgar in the English subtitles than he actually is. That's only because Japanese doesn't have a lot of vulgarities directly.
Yeah, they have implied vulgarities.
Yeah, like, he's a rough guy. He didn't finish school. He grew up in the mob. He would totally speak that way.
Yeah, so, and that's a thing that a lot of people seem to forget. You have to look at cultural context. I mean, some languages just don't have an analog in other languages.
Right, well, and that's just saying localization doesn't mean translation. It's a different thing.
Yeah, so,
Sometimes it means changing Lynn's bathing suit costume in Xenoblade Chronicles X to be less revealing. That's localization.
Yeah, so pretty interesting stuff overall.
Oh, for sure.
But,
yeah, no, it's crazy how good the acting is. That's another thing. Another reason I would say Yakuza 5 wouldn't be a good starting point is they crammed 5 playable characters in 5 locales, and that's a lot for that series.
Oh yeah.
And it kind of suffers cinematographically in that sense, because it's apparent right off the bat that Yakuza 4 is like cinema quality in its directing.
Oh yeah.
Yakuza 5 trades out a lot of that for face-to-face dialogue with dialogue boxes, and they are voiced, but you don't get as many cutscenes. You still get cutscenes, but not as many. And I feel like something is lost there. It wasn't really worth the trade. So I'm actually happy to see that Yakuza 0 and 1 have fewer playable characters, but with greater detail paid to how those characters are played.
Okay. Seeing how we've been on for about an hour and a half, and we've pretty much run through a pretty good gamut of topics.
We have.
Let's go ahead and wrap up the show, but I'll make an announcement with respect to the end of the year. So, end of the year is coming up, and this year we have Christmas on a Friday and New Year's Eve on a Friday. So, with light of that, our last show for the year will probably likely be next Friday, unless Choco Wasabi Love and Action Glasses are free Thursday. Maybe we can do a Thursday show. So just keep subscribed. We'll probably ping out a nice little "Hey, we're live" email going on, and likely it'll be 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you want to tune in, definitely visit us next week when we go live. Otherwise, if you want to talk to me further, feel free to send me a private message or whisper on Twitch. I can definitely talk to you a little bit more and everything. That's fine too. Hopefully, my idea would be I would love to do a live comparison contrast with Rock Band 4 versus Guitar Hero Live on the show. But if not, then maybe we'll do kind of a recorded series. We'd like to be able to kind of do something to get people informed on last second holiday shopping or pre-New Year's shopping for anyone looking for a party game. So that's our goal. But if not, I would say next week's show we'll also go over our picks for Game of the Year. We'll probably keep it simple. What I'll be doing is, at least personally, I'll be doing my top pick per console, plus a runner-up title that came out this year per console. So that's at least how I'll do it. I don't know about you, Aki, or any of the other shows.
If I do consoles, I'm probably going to keep it to... What I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to do pick like top 3 multi-plat games and then top 1 exclusives for each console.
Ooh, that's a good one, actually. I may have to go with that instead.
Because it's kind of hard, because I don't want to be like, oh, Assassin's Creed was really cool, because that's on a bunch of stuff, and say that for PlayStation. So I'm probably going to divide it up that way.
Yeah, I would say that's actually a pretty good way to go. 3 multi-platforms and then 1 console exclusive per system.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be really tough to pick those exclusives, though.
Oh, God, yeah. So, signing off, I am ZeroXR.
The only Aki.
And our spooky audio engineer, the legendary Chef Tonberry. Spooky! We will see you all next week, and definitely feel free to, just message us, and especially if you want to do multiplayer stuff, I'm always game to game with viewers as well too. But we will see you guys next week. And let me close out with the away, and we are